Hello and welcome to our third Parent Hub webinar in our series of webinars supporting parents and guardians. In this webinar, we'll be focusing on teens, drug vaping and current trends. So I invite you to view our introductory clip. So in this webinar, we will focus on teens, drug vaping and current trends around drug vaping. As always, the ethos of our webinar series is around empowering parents and guardians, reminding you of the significant role that you play in your child's life, and to remind you of how important your attitudes around substance use are. We know from cross-tabulation, planetyouth.ie, Planet Youth surveys, flag the cross-tabulations, the importance of parental attitudes with actual substance use behaviour with teens. So we're here to remind you that your opinions and attitudes and your communication around substance use is of vital importance, and to reiterate a focus on that. Our Planet Youth data provides us with very important on the lifestyle and well-being of young people in the Western region in Galway, Mayo and Roscommon. Planet Youth is an Icelandic evidence-based primary prevention model that we have been piloting in the Western region for over 6 years now, and it gives us a really important insight to factors in the lifestyle of young people growing up in our counties, Galway, Mayo and Roscommon. You'll have noticed in our introductory clip that the statistics on sleep, on social media use or screen time, on things like staying out late or staying up late, potentially unsupervised, and the experience of rejection from friends and from the peer group. These are all proven contributory factors around substance use. And specifically bringing attention to the screen time and access to phones in bedroom at night, that's a stat that is on the rise, and we've noticed significant increase in that from previous surveys to the most recent survey, as we have with the staying out after midnight. That is also a statistic that has risen considerably over the while. Many more wellbeing statistics can be found on the Planet Youth website, planetyouth.ie, and we can see that alcohol use is still the number one concern for this age group, but vaping, cannabis use, and also other substance use issues have crept in there significantly. We're going to focus on vaping drugs, and the emerging issue of this electronic method of drug delivery over the next few slides in our presentation. So we'll provide an overview of the vaping situation in Ireland, with particular focus on drug vaping, synthetic cannabinoids like HHC. We also know that vaping has led to an increase in smoking in young people over recent years, according to the HSE and other data, and that potential relationship with vaping as a gateway to traditional or typical cigarette use. The HSE are currently calling for support for parents and families to tackle this issue and to address this issue in their homes and with their teens. And we've learned that vaping can cause significant physical nicotine dependence. We know sometimes the levels of nicotine in vapes are considerably higher than that in a typical or traditional cigarette, for example. We know that sleep problems can be connected here. There are changes to how our hearts and organs work, and that people are experiencing active withdrawal symptoms when they try to stop vaping, and that in itself is indicative of the dependency of nicotine. Our Planet Youth data indicates that there are almost 1,000 young people in the 15 to 17 year age group in the Western region who report daily vaping, so daily use of vapes. When we look at this issue globally, and it is an issue of concern and of rising concern across the globe, we notice that there's some research there in Australia, in the UK, and in other countries around the impact of vaping. We know that in Australia there was strong correlation between vaping and future smoking around teens, indicating that teens might be up to 5 times more likely to start smoking, and that gateway kind of relationship there between vaping and smoking. In a recent report on vape use across the UK, 27 secondary schools were analysed in relation to the discarded vapes found on the properties, and it was discovered that 3/4 of just over 500 vapes that were tested had semi-synthetic cannabinoids, like for example HHC, present in them. We know that HHC has been newly classified as illegal in France and Germany, and that it's currently restricted in the UK. So this is an area that is getting attention globally, and that countries are being proactive and prompt around addressing. It would be remiss of us to mention this new electronic method of drug delivery without mentioning the marketing that has been indicated around, particularly towards teens and young people, around vaping. So there's a considerable level of consumer psychology at play in the background, and with that, the message of just because something is legal does not mean it's safe. So we're trying to encourage parents and guardians to challenge this attitude and to spread this message, particularly with their teens, around the risks associated with the electronic method of drug delivery. For the purposes of this webinar, we're referencing the County Galway data from Planet Youth Survey. We noticed that the data is quite similar across the region in counties Roscommon and Mayo, with a margin of maybe about 1% difference in some instances, but generally this captures the regional picture quite adequately. And as you'll notice from this slide, almost half of young people in the region reported having tried vaping at least once. So 46% there, with a continued rise up to about 15% who are self-reporting that they vape daily. You'll notice from this slide that County Galway and the region are very closely aligned. So just to demonstrate the regional context around substance use and around vaping specifically in relation to the prevalent numbers. You may have seen some of the recent media coverage around this particular area of HHC concern. We know that there have been legal concerns around it, that there have been health-related concerns, there have been significant prevalence of admission to EDs and A&Es of young people experiencing unwanted effects from HHC. We noticed some media articles there around it, and we know that health experts, national broadcasters and politicians in our country have been particularly concerned and have flagged HHC as a major concern. Our hscdrugs.ie have recently launched an awareness campaign around synthetic cannabinoids, highlighting some of the risks. So what is HHC? Well, hexahydrocannabinol is a semi-synthetic cannabinoid which is produced from CBD, cannabidiol. It's a derivative of the hemp plant, and it's designed to mimic the effects of THC. In some instances, it has been reported to be indeed more potent than cannabis, and that comes with significant mental health concerns. Our Health Research Board in Ireland has provided figures to show that over 169 people have sought treatment from addiction services in the HSE over the past 18 months for their use of hexahydrocannabinol. 86% of those were just under 19 years of age. We know that people are presenting with extreme anxiety, confusion, hallucinations, and in sometimes full psychosis. The HSE have said that we now have evidence to show that HHC is a psychoactive substance in relation to patient presentations and the complexities involved, and in relation to the treatment that people have been availing of. Dependence on HHC is evident to a greater degree now through the prevalence of mental health problems and through the significance of withdrawal symptoms that people are experiencing. And withdrawal symptoms by their nature are indicative of the dependency there. We currently don't know the long-term effects. We do not have research at the moment on the physical and mental health impacts of HHC, but some people are reporting it to be stronger to have a stronger intoxication level than even cannabis, for example. We know that the Centre for Disease Control in the USA are currently monitoring vaping effects. So there are global concerns there at play in relation to this product. So we might be thinking, what does HHC look like? What even is it? And here are some examples of images of HHC type products. You'll notice that they're a variety of strengths and prices ranging from about €30 up to about €75. But HHC is available in disposable vapes and refill cartridges. And you'll also notice perhaps the colours, the images, the design work involved in these products, as well as the flavors that are included here. So we've got strawberry cheesecake, we've got blueberry dream, blue dream, etc. Packaging and marketing of this substance with a variety of colors and flavors and scents there. And this is an interesting position in relation to our typical cigarette smoking that may have had an etiquette issue in terms of the smell of cigarette smoke and the passive smoking impact. But aesthetically, vaping is thought to be a little bit less offensive. So we have the sweet candy smell or fruit smells, the taste, and perhaps that's more palatable or more acceptable in the social domain. And perhaps this is one of the reasons why these products have become so popular of late. Marketing that's behind vaping, looking at the flavors, at the scents, the tastes that are there, relating this back to sweets, to lollipops, to candies, to ice cream, and with the message that flavors hide the truth. Don't be fooled by the lies. These sweet lies are bitter truths. Really focusing on that marketing element with vapes and the relative risks. In conjunction with this, we've previously seen an information and awareness campaign from the World Health Organization over the period of the last couple of years around this issue of vaping in relation to the release of toxic chemicals into the lungs, the impact on the heart and organs, the strength of the nicotine products available in vapes, how the flavors and tastes of vapes disguise some of the harms that are there, and some of the nicotine and other toxins that are present. And that brings our awareness to some of the risks with these vaping products. We are aware and acknowledge that vaping certainly is on the rise and is an issue of growing concern. When the Planet Youth data surveyed young people around vaping, they were asked to share information on what specifically they vaped, what they used in their vapes. And we know that 27% of the young people who were vaping disclosed vaping nicotine only in their vape. 13% said they vaped the flavour only. 6% reported vaping HHC, so our hexahydrocannabinol semi-synthetic. And 4 to 5% reported vaping THC, so liquid cannabis. We're cognizant of the takeaway message this evening that, to challenge the attitude that just because something is legal doesn't mean it's safe. We need to spread this message, particularly include this in our conversations with our children, with our teens, with our young people, to challenge the idea that just because substances are legal doesn't mean that they're safe. And we can use the example of alcohol, of high concentration caffeine products, etc., in relation to this, as well as looking at our vaping and smoking in the region. It's interesting to see that there are considerably more vapers. We're cognizant of this new and emerging connection between vaping and the progression towards smoking traditional cigarettes or tobacco going forward. But we're mindful that almost half of the young people surveyed in the most recent Planet Youth survey had tried vaping at least once in their lifetime, versus 27% of people who tried smoking cigarettes. We had 26% of people that vaped within the last month, so a real current, issue, with 12 to 13% who had smoked cigarettes in the last month, and then our self-reporting daily vapers coming in around the 15% mark there, versus 4% with traditional cigarettes or tobacco use. Again, highlighting that aesthetic issue there around the colour and the scent of vapes, and also the physical image of vapes and the bright colours that are there, the pastel colours, and often coordinating with outfits and with other accessories can be a thing for teenagers, particularly teenage girls. We know that vaping is slightly more prevalent with our teenage girls in the Western region than it is with our teenage males. In relation to other substance use, just to very briefly visit this area, we know that snus and nicotine pouches featured on the Planet Youth survey. We had 16% of young people reporting use of same. We had 12% reporting lifetime use of cannabis, so that they've used at least once in their lifetime. We had 4% saying that cannabis use was within the last 30 days, within the last month. We had 4% reporting synthetic cannabis use in their lifetime, so like our HHC, etc. And we had 0% reporting laughing gas, so nitrous oxide or other inhalants in their lifetime. We know that there's sufficient and significant evidence to warn us that young people who use cannabis could increase their risk of developing psychotic illness later on in life, and that evidence is known for for a period of time. We know that this is in relation to the brain development that's happening, the growth and development that's happening through at the adolescent years. To put our webinar in context, we know that alcohol is still our major issue for this age group of young people, although we see cannabis, HHC and vaping, as well as other substances creeping in there also, so there is a presence. We see a growing progression towards slightly less drinking overall, which is good news, but we know that when our teens drink, they are binging. So it's the nature in which we're drinking that is of particular concern, still a major issue, and also the concerning issue of the very young age of onset of substance use, of drinking. Young people who start using psychoactive substances before the age of 15, we know are statistically thought to be 4 times more likely to develop dependency in adulthood. And for that reason, we very much encourage delaying the onset of substance use until the body and brain is completely developed right up into adulthood. Adolescent years from around about the age 11 right up to 18, but we know that growth doesn't stop at 18, that it continues, particularly the growth and development of the frontal lobe, the frontal cortex of the brain, right up into the age of about 27 years of age, which marks cognitive maturity associated with adulthood. So in this period of time, our teens are still developing their executive functioning, they're still building their moral compass, and we would hope that through supportive conversations with parents around substance use, that they're able to align their ethical values with the parent or guardian, that will help guide them and direct them around the area of substance use through teenage years. It's really important that we support the creation of a healthy and safe environment throughout the teenage years for our brain and our organs to grow well up into adulthood. With all of this in mind, we must consider also the legal implications and the legal risks with substance use convictions. We know that there are significant impacts on job prospects, on travel prospects, on things like character referencing, on Garda vetting, for example. This is one of our poster campaigns. It uses the slogan, "Fancy backpacking abroad. Well, forget it if you've got a minor conviction." It uses the references surfing on Bondi Beach, walking around Times Square, and the message is to protect your dreams and make your own decisions. This is a poster campaign that's particularly appealing to young people if they're considering a gap year, a J1 visa, or traveling or working abroad, because a conviction, a legal implication around substance use could take that dream away from you. So the message is very clear here to be conscious of your decision making, to protect your dreams and protect your opportunities around a nice, full adult future. The HSE have developed a fact sheet on hexahydrocannabinol for your reference, and that's available on drugs.ie as well as over on our parent hub, WRDATF parent hub. The HSE have also developed an awareness campaign on synthetic cannabinoids to highlight some of the risks and to give some guidance and support to people who may be encountering synthetic cannabinoids through vapes or through other methods. We provide some cannabis resources on cannabis edibles and cannabis overall as a THC substance over on WRDATF and again on our parent hub for your reference. They are readable and at these locations and also downloadable as PDF. So we would encourage you to have a visit over there to access this information to help support your drug related conversations with your teens, to help inform and create greater knowledge and awareness around these substances and the relative risks. So just to recap on some of our information shared this evening, the HSE does not encourage vaping. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's safe. We have a role as parents and guardians to relay the risks and harms, and more information on the risks and harms are available to you over on our parent hub. We wanted to encourage you to delay the onset for as long as possible of all of these substances, and we are happy to say the good news. Some of the good news from our Planet Youth survey is that we've discovered that our young people in the western region of Ireland report receiving very high levels of caring and warmth from their guardians. You'll see from the data on this chart that above 90% of young people are saying that it's really easy to access caring and warmth from an adult or a guardian in their life, and above 80% saying that they would approach that parent or guardian for advice around personal matters. So we know they want to talk to you. We know they want to hear from you, and we're encouraging you to use these opportunities and the opportunity of this lovely, healthy relationship you have with your teens to bring up the topic of substance use, to bring up the issue of HHC, and to help them navigate this element of their life with your support and guidance. There's another awareness advice campaign rolling out this summer around when your teen goes out to a festival or a party. And in the summer months, you know, there are lots of occasions when school is out on holidays for young people to go to concerts, to go to festivals, to have parties and nights out. So it's about, again, coming back to encouraging, talking openly and honestly with your child about substance use, setting the boundaries and sticking to them, making sure when they're going out, you know where they are and who they're with, finding out how they're travelling to and from and how they're getting home, make sure they're getting home safe, arranging a call to check in throughout the occasion, and making sure that they know what to do if something goes wrong. They know where to get help and who to approach. Some useful links that were referenced in this webinar are there as follows on this screen. And please do take an opportunity to visit planetyouth.ie for more detailed information on statistics and facts around the well-being and lifestyle of young people growing up in the west of Ireland. Please do visit our parent hub, wrdatf.ie/parent-hub, for more detailed information to support you around the substance use element conversation with your team. HSE Drug Service West provides a confidential, free, accessible, professional service to people around the region who would like support with substance use. So they offer counselling and therapy to under 18s around the issue of drugs and alcohol, to over 18s around the issue of drugs, and thereafter in relation to adults and alcohol use, it's our HSE West Alcohol Service. The information and contact details for these colleagues of ours are available over on our website, wrdatf.ie. There's a drop-in service on Tuesday in Galway City from 11 to 1 p.m. also that you might like to avail of. With this in mind, I should highlight that our family support service in the Western Region Drug and Alcohol Task Force is also available to support families and loved ones around concerns on substance use. We have 3 family support workers, 1 designated to each county, Roscommon, Mayo and Galway, and the contact details for our family support workers are available on our website, wrdatf.ie. Again, it's a self-referral, free, confidential, professional, open access service, and our workers would be absolutely happy to hear from you, whether that's just a phone call with some signposting or some guidance, or whether it's a meeting to meet them in person, face to face. Whatever you need and require at the period of time, they'd be more than happy to accommodate. The HSE do on quit.ie have a quit smoking service. They run outreach quit smoking clinics around the country, and there's some really helpful resources there around reducing or quitting your smoking or your nicotine use. So we would encourage people to visit over there to take back the control around their substance use, and that's quit.ie. So coming close to the conclusion now, just in relation to our parent hub, it is a resource that has been designed specifically for parents and guardians to connect them into information and services in the west of Ireland, particularly pertaining to drug and alcohol use. The Parent Hub provides information on prevention, early intervention, support and treatment around substance use. It focuses on the significant influence of the parent on the child and encourages you to continue to maintain that rapport, that open relationship, that communication channel with your teen right up through the adolescent years around substance use. It's about having a conversation that we revisit frequently, regularly, that there's approachability there around it, and it's not just a once-off talk. The conversation level that we're going to have with a 13-year-old versus a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old is going to be very different. So we need to be revisiting the conversation as our child progresses through their development right up through the teenage years. We know that parents play a really vital role in the prevention of substance use, and the Parent Hub aims to support you around this. Information is categorised under the sections of prevention, early intervention and treatment and support, and information is provided by the age categories of preteen years, so under age of 12, teenage years from 12 to 18 years of age, and then for parents of adult children, so young adults over the age of 18. So we would encourage you to visit our Parent Hub to access more information on all of this. Over on our YouTube channel and on our social media platforms, you will find our previous webinar recording, Protecting Your Teen on a Night Out, Safe Socialising Over the Summer. So the recording is there for you to watch back, and we encourage you to visit our Parent Hub to review the webinar series of recordings that are there for your perusal. So the best way to stay updated and to stay in touch with us is on our social media platforms. So you can visit us over on Instagram at WestRDATF, on our Facebook page, Western Region Drug and Alcohol Task Force, on our YouTube channel, WRDATF Video Channel, over on our website that I've referenced many times already throughout this presentation, www.wrdatf.ie, and you'll find more information on the Planet Youth survey referenced in this presentation on planetyouth.ie, and we're also on X, formerly Twitter, at Western RDATF. Thank you for taking the time to view this webinar. We're really enthusiastic around continuing to work with you going forward, and delighted to be able to offer you this Parent Hub resource to support you and your family around these adolescent years.